Welcome back to Grim Advice with Gretta Myers. You've entered the grimoire. Let's turn the page together. Alright, I realized during the Saturday special that I did not tell you guys what to expect for this week. So, we've already read The Seven Ravens and Little Red Cap. Today is the Bremen Town-Musicians. Tomorrow is the Singing Bone. And Friday is the Devil with the Three Golden Hairs. So, without further ado, the Bremen Town-Musicians. A certain man had a donkey which had carried the sacks of corn to the mill tirelessly for many long years, but his strength was going, and he was growing more and more unfit for the work. Then his master began to consider doing away with him, but the donkey, seeing that trouble was in the air, ran away and set out to the road to Bremen. There, he thought, I can surely join the town band. When he had walked some distance, he found a hound lying on the road, gasping like one who had run until he was tired. "Why are you gasping so, you big fellow?" asked the donkey. "Ah," replied the hound, "as I am old and daily grow weaker, and no longer can hunt, my master wanted to kill me, so I took flight. But now how am I to earn my bread?" "I tell you what," said the donkey, "I am going to Bremen, and shall be town musician there. Go with me, and engage yourself as a musician. I will play the lute, and you shall play the kettle drum." The hound agreed, and on they went. Before long they came to a cat sitting on a path with a face like 3 rainy days. "Now then, old Whiskers, what has gone askew with you?" asked the donkey. "Who can be merry when his neck is in danger?" answered the cat. "Because I am now getting old, and my teeth are worn to stumps, and I prefer to sit by the fire and spin rather than hunt about for mice. My mistress wanted to drown me, so I ran away. But now good advice is scarce. Where am I to go?" "Go with us to Bremen. You understand night serenading. You can be a town musician." The cat thought well of it and went with them. After this, the 3 fugitives came to a farmyard where the cock was sitting, cock or rooster. I'm going to start that paragraph over, editor. The cat thought well of it and went with them. After this, the 3 fugitives came to a farmyard, where the rooster was sitting upon the gate, crowing with all his might. "Your crow goes on and on," said the donkey. "What is the matter?" "I have been foretelling fine weather, because it is the day on which Our Lady washes the little shirts, and wants to dry them," said the rooster, "but guests are coming for Sunday, so the housewife has no pity, and has told the cook that she intends to eat me in the soup tomorrow, and this evening I am to have my head cut off. Now I am crowing a full pitch while I can." "Ah, but Redcomb," said the donkey, "you had better come with us. We are going to Bremen. You can find something better than death everywhere. You have a good voice, and if we make music together, it must have some quality." The rooster agreed to this plan, and all 4 went on together. They could not, however, reach the city of Bremen in one day, and in the evening they came to a forest, where they meant to pass the night. The donkey and the hound laid themselves down under a large tree, the cat settled itself in the branches, and the rooster flew right to the top, where he was most safe. Before he went to sleep, he looked round on all 4 sides, and thought he saw in the distance a little spark burning, so he called out to his companions that there must be a house not far off, for he saw a light. The donkey said, "If so, we had better get up and go on, for the shelter here is bad." The hound thought that a few bones with some meat on them would do him good too. So they made their way to the place where the light was, and soon saw it shine brighter and grow larger, until they came to a well-lighted robber's house. The donkey, as the biggest, went to the window and looked in. "What do you see, my gray horse?" asked the rooster. "What do I see?" answered the donkey. "A table covered with good things to eat and drink, and robbers sitting at it, enjoying themselves." "That would be the sort of thing for us," said the rooster. Yes, how I wish we were there," said the donkey. Then the animals took counsel together how they should manage to drive away the robbers. At last they thought of a plan. The donkey was to place himself with his forefeet upon the window ledge. The hound was to jump on the donkey's back, and the cat was to climb upon the dog. And lastly, the rooster was to fly up and perch upon the head of the cat. When this was done, at a given signal, they began to perform their music together. The donkey brayed, the hound barked, the cat mewed, and the rooster crowed. Then they burst through the window into the room so that the glass clattered. At this horrible din, the robbers sprang up, thinking that a ghost had come in, and fled in a great fright out into the forest. The 4 companions now sat down at the table, well content with what was left, and ate as if they were going to fast for a month. As soon as the 4 minstrels had done, they put out the light, and each sought for himself a sleeping place according to his nature, and to what suited him. The donkey laid himself down upon some straw in the yard, the hound behind the door, the cat upon the hearth near the warm ashes, and the rooster perched himself upon a beam of the roof, and being tired from their long walk, they soon went to sleep. When it was past midnight, the robbers saw from afar that the light was no longer burning in their house, and all appeared quiet, and the captain said, "We ought not to have let ourselves be frightened out of our wits," and ordered out one of them to go and examine the house. The messenger, finding all still, went into the kitchen to light a candle, and taking the glistening fiery eyes of the cat for live coals, he held a match to them to light it. But the cat did not think it was funny, and flew in his face, spitting and scratching. He was dreadfully frightened, and ran to the back door, but the dog who lay there sprang up and bit his leg, as he ran across the yard by the straw heap, the donkey gave him a smart kick with its hind foot. The rooster, too, had been awakened by the noise, and had become lively, and cried down from the beam, "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" Then the robber ran back as fast as he could to his captain, and said, "Ah, there is a horrible witch sitting in the house, who spat on me, and scratched my face with her long claws, and by the door stands a man with a knife, who stabbed me in the leg, and in the yard there lies a black monster, who beat me with a wooden club, and above upon the roof sits the judge, who called out, 'Bring the rogue here to me,' so I got away as well as I could." After this, the robbers did not trust themselves in the house again, but it suited the 4 musicians of Bremen so well that they did not care to leave it any more, and the month of the man who last told the story is still warm. Okay, so first off, so we've talked somewhat in the past about being aware and then being paranoid. So this robber is like, and there was this judge on the roof that said, "Bring the rogue to me," when in reality he did not. I mean, it's a rooster. He can't. He didn't talk. It says in the story that he just was like, "Cock-a-doodle-doo," like roosters do. But then the guy was like, there was a judge who was sitting on the roof. Let me explain. So there is a phenomenon. Often, I did an experiment and a project on this once upon a time, that if given a sound that doesn't necessarily mean anything, like you can't tell what it's saying, or if it sounds like it might be saying words, it's called pareidolia. And often your subconscious, well, scientifically, it's like when you look for faces in things, or shapes in the clouds, or, for example, you hear someone call your name when that didn't actually happen. It's called pareidolia, and your subconscious will project what you think it might be saying. And more often than not, because it's something your subconscious runs, if you're feeling emotional about something, or had been thinking about something recently, or specifically feeling guilty about something, more often than not, you will find that thing. Because your subconscious is subconsciously looking for it everywhere. So, fun fact. If you think that people are talking about you behind their back, I mean, it might be true, but it could also be pareidolia. So, you learned something today. Okay, another point I wanted to make is that these animals, every single one of them, the master was like, they can't do stuff anymore. They need to be gotten rid of or killed, so to say. But as we see here, they did a pretty good job of doing stuff on their own. So, firstly and obviously, just because you're older or you're senior in an activity, like maybe everyone else around you hasn't done it as long, doesn't make you automatically worthless at that thing. I mean, honestly, oftentimes they'll keep senior people around because they have had experience and they're trained. And they're loyal. So even if as they get older and might not have as much energy or might lose some fine motor function or whatever, they know how things work, and so they're often kept on. Sometimes not, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't hear about so many poor actors and actresses and models or just general people being forced into an early retirement because they're no longer good enough. Secondly, so we see that they do stuff. And it might not be because they could do stuff all along. If you're in an environment where people are telling you, oh, you're worthless, you can't do stuff, you're bad at stuff, you're not worth it anymore, just stop doing stuff because we need to let other people do the stuff. If you're in an environment that's putting you down, then your performance will be significantly decreased. So, but if you find a way to give yourself hope, it'll give you energy. It'll make you better at doing things. It'll make you seem happier, because most of the time you will be happier. So if that's leaving the situation that gives you that energy or motivation, honestly, that's awesome. These animals would have died if they'd stayed. Because, one, they weren't doing stuff to their master's liking. And two, because they were not motivated. They were down. They were afraid. And that makes it so it's just this sad cycle, this self-fulfilling prophecy of I am bad and then you do worse. Or you're doing worse and then I'm bad. And it's just this cycle, and it's really sad. But it's true. But these animals, they beat it. In the same way that we can all beat lack of motivation, being tired. Granted, obviously there can be underlying causes like depression or physical illness or, again, older age. But that doesn't mean that we can't find things, whether in the situation we're in or outside of the situation, that give us hope and excitement for life, so then we can start performing better, like these Bremen Town-Musicians. And with that, we've reached this episode's Happily Ever After. Thanks for joining us. Or not so happily ever after. That's up for you to decide, but for me, it was a good time. Either way, this is the end for the episode, so tune in later and we can learn more together.